In April, I gratefully received the opportunity to travel to Japan to present at a research conference, Neural Control of Movement 2026. It was so busy, I basically didn't sleep at all. Well, the story begins on the night of Friday, April 17th. Even though my flight was at 6 a.m. the next day, I wanted to attend the seniors event at 8 p.m. and promised to stay up late with my friends. Then, since I hadn't finished packing, I went home and shoved a week's worth of clothes into my suitcase. There was still time, so I also did some kitchen cleaning. A couple of hours later, my friends came and we called a Blue Jay shuttle at midnight to a late-night Korean restaurant called Kambocha. This weekend celebrates Hawkins alumni with various events, so several of my alumni friends came to Baltimore to partake in our annual tradition of Midnight Kong. It was 2 a.m. by the time we returned to campus, so a few of us took a night walk. But there was still some time before I needed to leave for the airport, so I did some 3 a.m. work. Finally, I was on my way. I thought I'd miss all the food by being asleep the whole time, but somehow I didn't miss a single one. Now I've arrived in the Kansai International Airport, so I'm taking the bus to get to Kobe. But whoops, I totally forgot to exchange for cash, so I'm walking the rest of the way to get to the hotel. Here's the hotel room that I'll be sharing with my lab mate, Linda. Took a very necessary shower and nap before I wake up at midnight for Zoom meetings. So since there's a 13-hour time difference, I stayed out of bed for the whole night to work on call for a group project, then hop on 3 and 4 a.m. meetings with club members. Even though I tried to muffle my voice by doing meetings in the bathroom, my poor roommate was unfortunately woken up, so we ended up chatting as the sun rose. Before anything, we had to check out the fancy breakfast buffet on the 30th floor. Accompanied by a skyline view, I was able to enjoy various Western and Eastern style items. Today is the satellite meeting, which means it's just a full day of listening to presentations from various professors showing interesting research from their labs. Just blurring out everything in case I'm not allowed to share publicly. I actually paid attention and took notes for the majority of the meeting, and there were delicious snacks to enjoy as well. Sometime later, we broke off for a 3-hour lunch, meant for plenty of networking. Afternoon continued with more lecturing and more snacks, and when the last talk finally concluded, I was so tired from being up since midnight that I took a fat nap back in the hotel room, before it was time for the dinner reception. Here, everyone gathered for drinks and food, but I didn't stay too long as I'll be having another early morning. At 3 p.m. Eastern, a PhD candidate from our lab was having her dissertation defense. As a duo of dedicated lab mates, Linda and I joined at 4 a.m. Japan time to support her presentation virtually. I still had homework to do anyway, so I didn't go back to sleep. Then I got ready for breakfast and another day of talks. During lunch, however, is when the poster session takes place. I'm presenting today, so I split my time between grabbing food, explaining my poster, and visiting other researchers. The day ended with a few more talks, and then I went back to the hotel room for a short break before our evening lab outing. Taking the train to downtown Sannomiya, Michael, Linda, and I first chose an izakaya where we can enjoy a refreshing plate of fried seafood, sashimi, and futomaki. After that, we wanted to check out the Kobe Port Tower, one of the key landmarks of the city. We paid for the ticket that brought us to the very top of the tower, allowing us to take in the full city view. Taking the stairs for each floor on the way down, we enjoyed some of the interactive displays the tower had to offer. I think we didn't return until near midnight. Next morning, at least I didn't have to be up before the sunrise, but I did have a pretty long meeting with my group project partners as we wrapped up the last details of our final presentation. I was going to be late to the first talks of the day anyway, so I decided to go try out what the secondary strawberry-themed breakfast room had to offer before joining back from our conference activities. The snacks assortment changes daily, and so does the lunch buffet. I'm presenting my poster today as well. The sessions ended with an inspiring keynote about women in science by the current president of NCM, Kathleen Cullen, who's actually a professor at Johns Hopkins. This was followed by another guest speaker and networking session, all on theme for women and non-binary empowerment in research. When it all ended, Michael, Linda, and I headed out for dinner at 8. We just had to try Kobe beef at least one time. Steakland was no doubt a tourist-made attraction, but the three of us still enjoyed the hibachi show and meal, racking up a pricier seat that I never had the budget for as a college student. Wait, the night hasn't ended. We walked out to the harbor, and with nothing but a bar left open at the mall, we decided to make that our last stop. Alright, so I'm up at 4 a.m. again to do my group final presentation over Zoom, in the bathroom. Oh, and it looks like I just stayed awake to do work in a virtual coffee chat. This morning, I checked out the Kinarm memo table before heading in to listen to more talks. I'm not presenting at the poster session today, so I just went around to see other posters and also tried out the Meta Haptic Band demo. It started raining outside, but Linda and I still wanted to see the Kobe Illusions Museum. This place was a lot of fun. It wasn't very busy, so one of the staff members kindly showed us exactly how to pose and helped us take pictures as well. Each room presented different ways to interact and immerse with the scenery. Linda and I really had so much fun exploring every exhibit and taking photos. When we reached the exit, it was still raining, and I thought it was so scenic, I didn't even mind my feet getting wet on the way back. After resting up, it was already dark, so the two of us decided to stick to staying indoors by shopping at the Family Mart located inside the hotel for a simple convenience store feast. Might have gone in a bit too much, and even though this whole spread was just a fraction of the value of the Kobe beef meal I had yesterday, I thought everything was so delicious. I happily devoured the onigiri, seaweed soup, and katsu curry. Last day of the conference. Same as usual, starting off with a colorful and aesthetic breakfast and a stunning view I'll never get sick of seeing every day. Then we have the oral presentations before lunch and posters. I tried a new food combo today, karaage and ice cream. Honestly, after so many days of long poster sessions, I was getting kind of tired, so I took a break to catch up on some work. Then I returned to the auditorium to listen to the final presentations. One of them was about budgies and how they learn to store songs and imitate sounds. Being the last day, the schedule ran a bit longer, so by the time the last talk ended, it was already 6 p.m., and after a quick rest in the hotel room, my labmates and I headed out to the city once more. While Michael went to get Kobe beef, Linda and I sought for shichimi togarashi in the supermarket, and decided to get our dinner here too. Michael already finished his meal, so we ended up taking our food back to the hotel to heat up and eat. Again, everything was pure deliciousness. On Saturday, I savored my final hotel breakfast. Today I'm going to meet my friend Katie, who lives in Tokyo. Took the light rail and then walked to the Shinkansen station with my luggage in hand. Although I purchased the cheaper, unreserved seat ticket, the first train that came was fully booked out. Oops, what do? I tried hiding in the bathroom, but occupying it for 2.5 hours would probably bother other people. I resorted to sitting on my luggage by the small space next to the door. Several train attendants walked by without even glancing my way, so I'm glad this wasn't actually illegal. When I arrived, I waited at a nearby park with tables. Laid out all of the snacks I collected from the conference. Thank you, Katie, for buying us bagels for lunch. I thoroughly enjoyed both the hojija cream cheese with tangerines as well as the tuna and avocado bagel. After lunch, we went to Asakusa. One of my friends wanted a specific gacha, so we went to this gachapon to find it. You put in 500 yen, turn the knob, and then the egg will come rolling out. Next, we headed to an arcade just around the corner to take some purikura pictures. Each session also costs 500 yen, which I think is a great deal considering the experience lasts a good while, and the photos make for meaningful souvenirs to share with friends. Every purikura machine offers slightly different features and themes. At first, we stuck to the standard cute poses everyone usually does, and decorating our photos with hearts and romantic filters. However, that quickly bored us, so we started getting sillier and creative with our poses. It was a blast. After 4 rounds of photos, we visited Sensoji, a popular spot bustling with tourists. Katie made a reservation at an izakaya called Totoro. True to its name, the place was actually themed around Studio Ghibli's My Neighbor Totoro. Our first order was some beautifully plated sashimi that cost a mere 500 yen, and it arrived alongside some refreshing alcoholic sodas. We absolutely could not find sashimi this delicious and affordable back in the States. The dishes kept arriving one after another without any delay. Mochi pouches stuffed with spicy cod roe and cheese, flavorfully marinated tuna, a seafood-filled omelet, and just when we thought we were finished, the deep-fried mentaiko and karaage arrived to stuff our bellies even further. As the sun began to set, we made our way towards Shibuya, arriving at a frozen yogurt shop that Katie recommended. Here, you can create your own custom dessert. I chose a melon-flavored chocolate topping, popping mint candy, and fresh strawberries. On the way back, we stumbled upon a BTS pop-up event. Naturally, we simply had to stop and enjoy the shop, and for the first time all week, I managed to get a full 7 hours of sleep. The next morning, we woke up early and headed out to a delicious bakery for breakfast. I couldn't believe how popular this place was, even at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. I was delighted with my choice, a croque monsieur. Actually, I don't know how to say that. Featuring delightfully stretchy, gooey cheese. After we finished eating, Katie mentioned that she had already purchased tickets for the two of us to visit Team Lab, an immersive art museum located right next door to the bakery. Upon entering, we found that the walls were entirely covered and projected videos of various flowers. Although Katie claimed she could even smell a floral scent, I personally didn't catch any fragrance. Despite the darkness and the fact that there wasn't a map, we gradually discovered new rooms and corridors, delighting in the fascinating dynamic artwork. The exhibits weren't limited to projector-based visual either. Many of the rooms utilized infinite mirrors to create stunning optical illusions. There was even a room where you could draw your own sea creature and then watch it come to life inside the digital aquarium. Furthermore, right in the center of the museum, there was a tea house. We ordered yuzu sorbet and matcha, and then the overhead projectors detected our bowls, causing beautiful images of flowers and butterflies to magically appear. Since the wall's visuals were constantly shifting, we would think we had discovered every room, and then a new area would somehow reveal itself, leaving us pleasantly surprised time and again. I thought the decor in every room was incredibly cool, and I was also fascinated by the underlying algorithms powering the lighting effects. All in all, we spent nearly 2 hours inside. After leaving the museum, we headed to another mall to take more Purikuda pictures. However, it was soon time for me to head to the airport to make my afternoon return flight. This trip, though brief, was incredibly fun, and it was an experience I will cherish and never forget.